Oh, there's a wedding coming up and you're in charge of planning the dessert. What do you pick? There's so many people to please. And I find tiramisu is a classic favorite, but you need to give it a twist. I've got the answer for you, my tiramisu cheesecake, and a cheesecake that feeds a crowd. And at the heart of tiramisu are ladyfinger biscuits, and that's what I use to make my crust. I have 1 1/4 cups of ground up ladyfinger biscuits. So they're nice and crispy, add a lovely sweetness to your cheesecake base, and I'll pour in a 1/4 cup of melted butter. You'll need a 9-inch springform pan. Grease the bottom and sides, and you want to line the bottom with parchment. Just makes it easier to pull it out of the pan. This crust lines just the bottom of the pan, and just use the back of your spoon to press it into place. I'll pop that in the oven. All right, that just bakes for 10 minutes, and so while it's baking and then cooling, I'll get my other ingredients ready. My crust is cooling, and I want to add a ganache layer underneath my ladyfingers before I put on my cheesecake filling. So I've got 2 tablespoons of butter and a 1/4 cup of cream, and I've measured 3 ounces of dark couverture chocolate. All right, I can just turn off the heat and add my chocolate. All right, my chocolate has melted, so I'll take my cooled crust and pour this right on top. And I'll just give the pan a little swirl. There we go. It also creates a wonderful barrier so that your crumb crust stays nice and crispy, protecting it from the cheesecake. So, ladyfingers, you have to have them in tiramisu. Now, I don't soak them in a coffee syrup as if I was making a regular tiramisu. The cheesecake filling softens them beautifully. So when you slice into the cheesecake, you see the profile of the ladyfingers. Now it's time for the cheesecake layer. This is a cheesecake that feeds a crowd, so I start with 3 packages, 750 grams of cream cheese that I've softened to room temperature. Now I'll gradually start adding 1 cup of granulated sugar. Once you've blended in the sugar, then it's time for another key tiramisu ingredient, mascarpone cheese. 1 cup. This makes this cheesecake so rich. Oh. Every guest at the wedding will just be over the moon thrilled. Don't feel you can only serve this for a wedding. It would be great for any occasion. Now I'll add a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And then for flavoring, I'll add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And you can't have tiramisu without coffee. A 1/4 cup of brewed espresso coffee. The last addition, 2 whole eggs. When you're adding your eggs, you want to add them 1 at a time and on low speed. That way you don't incorporate too much air because air bubbles in your cheesecake could create a crack. This is ready to pour on top of my ladyfingers and ganache. It will come right up to the top of the pan. I've left my oven at 350, the same temperature I baked the crust, and this takes 45 minutes to bake. As it bakes, you'll see that the outside edge souffles up a little bit, and you'll get just a light browning at the edge, but the center, a good circle of about 3 inches across, will still be jiggly. That's okay. As the cheesecake cools, it will set fully right through to the center. And here it is. And the finishing touch, I have 1 1/4 cups of whipping cream, almost whipped here. And I want to stabilize the whipped cream. That way I can take care of everything well ahead of the wedding, knowing the whipped cream will stay in place. So I add a tablespoon of instant skim milk powder. I'll also add a 1.5 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and just a little sploosh of vanilla. I think that's the smallest amount of vanilla I've ever poured into whipped cream. Tiramisu often has spirits in it, but I've left it out here because you never know who's coming to the wedding. And the finishing touch, just a little dusting of cocoa powder. What a stunning dessert. And a tiramisu cheesecake like this feeds a crowd. It's as elegant whole as it is cut into slices. And this is a modern twist for a classic wedding. So enjoy the big day, especially dessert.